I love this screen. It looks like one of
Huh?
those 1940s like.
Sorry, we have experiencing technical problems.
Technical
Back
problems
to
again.
the commercials.
Wait, is this now the real thing?
10 minutes to go. Is it o'clock?
Yo, 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 it is 8 o'clock. You're right, Baz. It is 8 o'clock, and this is CandlerCreative Chats, and I am Dan Candler. And this podcast is about the creative world and the creative individuals that reside within that world. And with me today, I have our other podcast flames, just like myself. Let's bring them in. Yo, yo, yo. How you doing, guys? How are you doing today?
I'm a little low on energy. No, I'm joking. I'm in hibernation mode at the moment.
You look so like bundled up right now, Kelvin. Are you like really cold? Is your window open or something?
I'm actually not that cold. I've been when I'm at home, I put this stuff on. It was cold earlier, but I put the heating on, then I turned it off. But I don't know. I like to stay cozy, so I just keep it on.
I know you've looked like every week you've been getting cozier and cozier. But sweet.
It's freezing outside.
It is it has
Today
been
was
very
cold,
cold, hasn't
man.
it, guys?
Today was very
Yeah,
cold.
man. I mean, I only went out once, but yeah, it was very cold.
I had to get milk, and I just walked out the door, and then I was like, nope, walked right back in. Black tea. For
Nope,
today.
not today, yo.
Not doing that.
So guys, this is wow. We've done all of our interviews. This is like I feel like this. I mean, Chris, you said it on your story today you were looking forward to this episode. I've been looking forward to
I
this
have
episode.
been for a while, man. I just
Because
love when you can
it's-
just dish it out and the general information's already, out there.
Yeah, fully. Because the
What is it?
last
Six.
this actually you're right. This is
Six.
episode 6. This is episode 6. Episode 6, past, present, future. And we called it that. We called it that because whoever hasn't tuned in on the podcast streaming platforms or on YouTube, the last 4 episodes we've been speaking about. We've been interviewing each other. So everyone can kind of get to know us, get to know the podcast flames, and then from this point on, we're going to kind of just see what happens. We're going to be doing interviews and
Okay,
yeah. Don't you worry about that, Kelvin. I'm on it. But yeah, we're going to be doing interviews and loads of and just speaking about loads of different topics about the creative world. But yeah, I mean, even like today, there was no real structure for today. we just jumped on, didn't we, guys? We had a little bit of a brief thing before this, and then here we are today. Here
Yep.
we are now.
Well, I think
But,
there's something we could just dig in a bit and see where it leads us.
Exactly. Yeah.
To find what is the common thing in all our stories from all that we went through. Apart from the creative approach that we got to life, I think it's about this. Well, we were saying it last time on yours, Dan. Like, there's this one moment that changed everything.
You're so right.
I realized I didn't actually say mine of that. I had a moment.
Well, the moment is right now. Don't freeze.
The exact same
Don't
thing.
This is my moment.
That moment right there was it.
Don't use the
That moment
freezing
right
as an
there.
excuse. Say it now.
Yeah. Apologies for technical difficulties, people watching here.
It's okay. People will get used to it over the next coming however long about your technical difficulties
Seriously.
until you get your Wi-Fi sorted.
Until I get my Wi-Fi sorted. But
But you're right, Baz. And Chris, let's touch on that then, because you were the first you were our first trial interview. You were the first person to go out of the podcast flames. So yeah, tell us what would you say your catalyst was then for, I guess, your creative journey?
yeah.
To now.
So really quickly, and I'll try to monitor. So if I cut out, I'll be able to pick up on this. So I basically, when I was in school, I did a lot of school productions, right? And I didn't mention, I think I mentioned that both my parents kind of have worked in the creative fields as well. My father and grandfather used to do stuff, and then my mother used to do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So when I got my first national theater gig was when my mother actually was walking through a mall, actually, and she was walking past and she saw this thing that says Nairobi Performing Arts Studio. Shout out to them. And she sort of stopped, and she had never seen it before, and she was like, let me just pop in. She went in, she asked, she was just like, random question. You guys wouldn't happen to have a show coming up with a role for a younger, I think I told you guys, Mzungu actor, like a younger Mzungu actor, and then possibly an older Mzungu actor. Would you? Because also my father was acting as well. And this guy was like Stuart Nash. Shout out to him as well.
Yeah. No, shout out Stuart
Nash. He was like... but yeah,
I'm just gonna. Sorry, carry on, Chris. Technical difficulty again, but it's all good.
Sorry, guys. Anyway, long story short, he was like, "Yeah, I do. Actually, I need a younger and an older Mzungu actor," and we both got into Serafina, which on the National Theatre stage. So that kind of boosted that. But my first catalyst, the proper catalyst, was I was sort of debating whether I'm studying drama after, or like getting into that or getting into something else. And I think it was my junior year. So I was like, I had that year and then one more year after before I left school. And one of the seniors who was playing the lead in a show, this was Imaginary. It was a musical called Imaginary. He fell terribly sick on the last day, and he was the headmaster. He had all the, major lines. He had about 2 full solo songs, and he fell sick really badly on the last performance day, and we were completely sold out. And I basically woke up to my parents saying to me, "Look, we've just got a call from the director saying, would you be willing to cover his part? You've been on scene with him you're in almost all of his scenes. You kind of have an overlapping thing where you don't sing when he's singing. So, would you be willing to try to cover for him?" And that day for me was a whole different story. And I ended up going in really early, trying a couple of his songs, getting in some different costumes and whatever. And long ass story short, I remember doing a song, like one of his solo songs, thinking this is going to be horrible. Like, I don't know if I can hit his range, whatever. So I just remember being very much like in this space, and I was performing this song with the other actors behind me. They're like teachers, because I was a teacher in this show, and there was 2 other teachers. So they stand behind the headmaster in this song. So I remember standing on the platform, singing this song, and just being very in my head in this space, trying to like perform it as he did it, but also trying to add something to it. And I just remember finishing this song on the last note and looking up, and it was just the director in the audience. And I remember him being like, "Yeah, just give it a try. We'll see how it goes." And I remember looking up as I was finishing this song, and the entire, sorry, my thing's frozen. Yeah, the entire cast and crew was in the audience, and I hadn't even noticed them trickling in. And I looked up, and they all, I was just like, "Oh shit, does that mean it was like horrible?" And they just all started like, clapping and stuff, and it was just such a surreal moment for me. And they were like, "Yeah, this is gonna be great. We can pull this off." So and we did the show and everything, and literally by the end of the day, I was like, man, that thrill, that that energy of, even like that was the first time performing his role, and I did my role as well. And
so your catalyst realistically was your mum asking, you said your mum, right? Your mum asking that guy or the person if they had any roles and stuff.
No, so that was for my first national theater. Sorry, that was like my first professional thing.
Oh, right.
So that had happened the year before. And that was the first, catalyst, because I was like, okay, this is like, I'm getting a taste for this in a professional sense. And I loved that performance, but my role wasn't great. Like, it wasn't very huge. I didn't have tons of lines, It was good though. It was a nice like taster. And then I was like, you know what, this is good. This is potential. And then it was after that second, like thrown into the deep end, where I was just like, you know what, yeah, if I can do this, and I like this to me wasn't work, then I can do it whenever.
Yeah, it's a crazy feeling. It's a crazy feeling, just performing in general. I think, and I wonder whether it's the same kind of feeling, energy, whether you're, say, dancing, doing a dance production or doing a live theatre production, or like we were saying, even in film, because I can imagine even like doing a massive, massive production at like a film production and being the main dude, and then you've got like 300 extras around you. It's almost like a live performance you're doing, you know what I mean? So I wonder if it is, it must be the same, because I've done the dance productions and dance performances, and the feeling you get is just incredible. It's just there's nothing that beats it.
I wonder.
But I've never really.
Sorry, I wonder. Yeah, if like these sort of big like A-list actors who are on these sets that we're on, because you notice some of them have their little things that they do to like hype them up or like get them in their energy. And it's really interesting seeing the different ones and like what they do, because some of them are really quiet, really reserved, don't do a lot of talking, but then there's other ones that I don't know.
But it's not just the actor. It's also the scene itself, the character itself. So if you're gonna do like just a guy going and buying cigarettes at the kiosk, then it's not the same as you're gonna go and talk to your father before he dies. Like the scene will be different. I remember I saw this interview with Anthony Hopkins, and he said for years people found on his scripts that sometimes he writes stuff, and there was this how do you call when you have like UK when you shorten the words into like 2 letters or 3 letters, anacrims.
Acronyms.
Oh, okay,
Acronyms. Anacrims.
Anakin
Sounds like a pastry.
So there was this anacrim. I don't remember what was it. Was it NAR? And people were like, "What the fuck is that?" And then on this interview, I think it was for the Thor movie, he said like, "Oh yeah, that's no acting required." So he said that when he's doing these superhero movies, he doesn't need to act. So he's just like, what is this script? Oh, it's just this is thing. Okay, no acting required. So he doesn't do the proper work to like understand the character, the situation, the emotion, and all that stuff. Like, I'm just gonna be Odin, so I need to just be sitting on the chair and look good and with my beard, and that's it. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. It's so on his script he's got like everything there and stuff, but it's just like the director has just put, look, just no action required. He puts that.
He gets the script for the scene, and then when you get the whole script, sometimes you just like I do my own, you in your own method, you just dissect the whole scene with the emotions and certain words on like how do you react to what the other character is saying. So you do the whole script analysis. But so the story about him on this, he says like when he's working on Marvel movies and stuff like that, he literally grabs the script and he says, okay, NAR, no acting required on this.
Wow. No, that's I guess it's the set. Like, I mean, when annotating and like all of these, whether you're annotating a script or, even for me, like when I'm taking photos and stuff and I do mood boards, like I started doing a trend last year where like I really wanted to get more into depth of thinking more of the like emotional and physical side of the actual shoot. So like, what are the actual emotions behind this, or like what's the meaning behind the colors that we're using within the shoots or the editorials and stuff. And so I guess that translates in so many different fields. You know, whether you're like an artist or like a writer. You know, we always have these. We have to, like, our brain just is creating, and then it creates something else because it's still creating that, and it's yeah. I don't even know where I was running off of that, but
no, yeah, but it makes sense because we are all attached to. I guess creativity is attached to emotions in the core of it. Is our needs to express what we feel and to put it somewhere, either if it's a painting or if it's in a dance or if it's a performance, if it's singing, if it's whatever it is. It's always coming from like the if it's a fire, the wood will be the emotions.
Yeah, fully.
I saw I don't know what it was, but I don't know if you've heard of Michael Caine says this actually in the book I'm reading at the moment. And he says, you know, if you're trying to play a drunk person, I think I'm frozen again.
Try to play.
If you're trying to play a drunk
sober.
person, try to play to be sober. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm realizing that with a lot of other things as well. And I think Bryan Cranston, the guy who plays Walter White in Breaking Bad, he said the same thing as well. He said if your character is supposed to feel it like severe sadness and is supposed to be crying, you know, you're trying to like convey a sense of crying. He was like, if you cry, you're taking away the audience's need to feel like they need to cry, right? Because they're seeing that you're conveying that emotion. But he was like, if you hold back those tears and you actually, you know, like maintain a non-crying state and hold it back when you could be or should be, that's when the audience will cry, because that makes them feel like they need to release that emotion.
Can I cry for the character?
Yeah. And he was like, it's an interesting thing because you're almost, if you can hold back on certain things and just keep it, because, you know, screen acting is just the like little things can trigger such big emotions. And he was like, yeah, if you can hold back a lot of that stuff and leave it up to the audience to feel whatever they want to feel, you can create a whole different story, because it's like whatever the audience takes away from it, they take away from it. You know?
I wonder if you could take that off into normal life. If you could take away those that mentality into like everyday life, so not giving everything all the time, you know, holding back little bits of ourselves, yeah, I don't know what.
What are you saying? If we hold back ourselves,
no, like you know, like hold back, you know, certain things about ourselves, not giving everything all at once, all the time to everyone. Like
you can't do that today. You can't give everything you are all the time. Especially when you're constantly in the industry that you're in, meeting people all the time. If you give yourself all the time, you put all your cards down on the table, you're going to end up in a very messy situation. I love the world. It's beautiful. It's nice, but everyone out there is not beautiful, from my experience anyways. A lot of people pretending. It's very hard to find genuine people, and sometimes you get it wrong. But, you know, I don't really care if people are nice, good, bad. That's you. That's your thing. You stay in your lane. But in regards to what you're talking about, definitely don't give everything.
Yeah, no,
you have to hold back.
Yeah. I think this is something I've been having to learn myself, really. Is holding back more, because that is me. I'm not an optimist. I'm a positive guy. Just like, you know, oh my god, yeah, this is everything's rainbows and pretty colors. So I'm just like, oh yeah, here's everything. But I'm learning more and more to just hold back little bits. You know, back little bits. And
I don't know. I think you need to express that. And this is where you have to. This is where you have to use your experience in life. And we're able to look at people and judge and know I feel comfortable in this space. I can express myself, happy, sad, low, whatever, Kelvin. But you got to use your intuition, and that's why I say hold back. I'm not saying do it 100% all the time, but you got to know who to do it with.
Yeah,
and that comes back to the whole thing, awareness.
Sorry. There's places and people, so you cannot just like, I don't know, like if you feel that you're being supported in an environment that you can be emotional and open and vulnerable, then yes, which is usually intimate family or on a romantic relationship, or maybe if you're really like you, Kelvin, you're like a good father, so you can have this conversation with your daughter. So you cannot just sometimes like go on like people that work in an office and talk to the boss and say like, look, boss, like my mom just died, so can I take some time off? And the boss is like, no, we need to work, so you need to be here tomorrow, blah blah.
You just brought back a memory to me. It was such a weird thing when my grandfather passed away. When I found out my grandfather died, I was at work, busy nightclub. I was the manager. And it was such a lovely working environment because everyone there, from the security to the staff to the manager, I was the manager, but everyone really cared for each other in that place. And when I found out, I got a phone call, boom, your grandfather's passed away. And I just sort of just stood there. And I remember thinking, I want to see my granddad at some point, but no, he's gone now. And one of the security came across, everything okay, Kelvin? My grandfather just passed away. And they all just sort of just went, everyone, Kelvin, you can sit down, we'll do this, we'll do that. And I just stood there, took a deep breath, and I went, no, let's crack on. Boom, went on with it. I wanted to sit down and really digest it because I wasn't too sure how to feel about this right now while working. But in that instance, me today, I wouldn't show any emotions. I definitely wouldn't let anyone get involved. But the environment that I was in is such a good environment. Everyone was so nice. I could have just cried and everyone would have been, okay with it. They would have looked after me and things like that. But I chose to just go, no, I'll crack on with it and I'll figure it out later, which I did. Soaked it up. I had a chance to reflect. But the point I'm trying to make is I could have chosen to be vulnerable at this moment. Because I knew I was surrounded around good people. But like you're saying at work, you can't come with this sort of stuff. You don't know how your boss is going to react with this and if they're going to use it against you and that sort of thing. I find today a lot of men as well are afraid to be vulnerable around women, not because they can't be, but because most women are going to use this against you. I said most women, not all women.
There's a very good movie that talks about this particular subject called Moonlight. I think it's a very, very good movie about this toxic masculinity of like building these layers and layers and this like fucking armor that people puts on as like I'm a tough guy. I don't have emotions. I'm really aggressive, like because the situation needs you to be like that. And then if you show your vulnerability, sometimes even you get fucking killed.
I agree.
I think we still need to be able to be okay and be comfortable with showing our vulnerability, and then over time I think that will just the mentality of like maybe that might change. Maybe that situation would change over time, Kelvin, and if we allow especially more men and stuff to become more vulnerable and say that it's okay. Maybe that situation, Kevin, you could have taken that time and been honest. I don't know how you were feeling in that situation, but maybe in a different time you could have, taken a moment and gone, actually, you know what? I am going to sit with this for a sec. Do you mind if I just, and then gone back and I don't know.
I'll tell you what, Dan. That moment did teach me something about being a man. And you are right. We do need to be able to hold our emotions, but make no mistake, a man's life is much different from a woman's life. They live in that vulnerable state where they can share and do all sort of stuff. The men can do it too, but this world that we live in today, everything that everything that we've achieved from the beginning of dawn until now, someone had to sacrifice something. It's a lot of hard work. As a man, You know, we are the creators, we are the builders. We have to sometimes hold back that emotion. I'm not saying that we cannot be emotional. That's why I say you have to be very picky and choosy, especially for men. You know what I mean? Women have it more difficult because they're emotional all the time, but they got a lot of cunning, yeah, I say bit well around them. You know what I mean? Sometimes they shouldn't even be sharing information because that person is sharing information, we don't even care about them. But you have to you got to be able to stand strong, especially it's getting worse in these quiet times where men are getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, and the
I
world's
think this is
putting.
about finding a balance, though. I think this whole, like, I think this is what I'm saying, though. Like, okay, I feel like in the past maybe there was this whole thing of like masculine, the masculine mentality. This is the idea of what a man is, and this is the idea of what a woman. But I just think that's like now, we are becoming more equalized, but it's just finding a balance between both. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like women, they can have that masculine kind of like vibe to them, and that's cool, and that is okay. And then men can have that feminine way to them, and that is okay. But then there can still be a balance. If a guy is still like feminine or has a feminine traits to them, they can still be masculine. And then it's just about finding that balance rather than going, no, like you're masculine because you are just strong and you are this, like, you know what I mean? I think that's where we need to be a little bit careful.
I think that's what the strong part of men is what represents us as a majority of it, maybe 80%. The problem is that people neglect that 20% that we can be. We just show it in different ways, you know. So Balthazar mentioned my daughter. You know, my daughter sees me being emotional in a different way to like her mother, for example. So it doesn't mean that one's better than the other. This is just she's understanding how a man expresses emotions or when he does. You know, and when she's going through things, I might come across a little bit tougher, but I do hug her. You know, I do, show affection and that sort of thing, but I deal with things slightly different, and because of the way that I deal with it as a man, it makes her stronger as a woman as she grows older, because she knows she would have a reflection of how mommy dealt with it versus daddy dealt with it, and she gets a really good balance, as you were talking about, Dan. You know, we all can't be the same. You're going to create a world of disaster. Nothing gets done when everyone's the same. The differences is what creates that beauty. Unfortunately,
exactly. I think that's the beauty of it. Like if we were the same, there will be no women or men.
No.
There will be no separation. We will all be like plants, like hermaphrodites, I guess. But the beauty of it is that we are different, and we actually come together to create life. That's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a really
that's actually quite a nice way of putting it, really. Like we are both different to come together. I don't know what the exact word you said, but to come together to create life. Like that's
and people need to get over it and accept that.
We have two unique beings coming together to create one that is unique. Whoa. Oh my god, we're getting philosophical.
Yin and yang is, man. Like the whole there's equal balance in the world to
baby.
One.
It's yin and yang.
Yeah, that's the thing is though, like what we were just touching on then with this whole, like that is just a massive topic in itself. Like that is and it's still such a crazy topic to talk about, especially like now, you know.
But it's the reason why it's huge today is because we've done so well as a society and built technology and everything else up. Like I was saying earlier before, it has created people have become very weak, and they don't understand themselves. And now everyone, because we can make so much changes very quickly, very fast because of technology. Now some people are growing up and neglecting history, neglecting things that their ancestors have done, and they're like, oh no, we don't have to do it like that anymore. And it's like you can make slight changes, but certain things stick. And the way I see it is, you know what, I welcome all the changes. You want to know why? Whether I agree or disagree with it, I'm like, bring on the changes. The ones that I think are stupid and ridiculous, I know it's gonna come right back. because it can only last so long. When it comes to something that was built, that's strong and has a foundation, and you try and take the foundation away, all that's going to happen is eventually at some point something's going to come along and blow that house away, and then you have to build the foundation again. You know what I mean? You want to throw away all the stuff that your ancestors... Yeah, go on.
I got a very good example. I thought it was funny when I thought it in my head. It's like a bad movie. A bad movie comes out to the cinemas. Nobody goes to watch it, or people goes to watch it. And I was like, "Oh, that's shit." I was like a month, 2 months later, nobody remembers the movie. A good movie comes out, changes the history of cinema. Big difference.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it's like people are trying to change that movie now, even though what was built is very good. But I say, but only time I like letting time decide. You know, if you want to be radical, I'm like, okay, yeah, you do you. Let's see what happens. And you know, if you sit back and watch a lot, you get all the answers you want. That's why I get my answers. You know, I have a way I feel about a certain thing, but if the majority feels different to me, I just go, well, let's see what happens. You know what I mean? I got time. 2, 3, 5, 10 years goes by, and you go, I don't even bother saying I told you so. It's not even about that. It's just seeing everyone learn on their own. You know, the world has a certain rhetoric at the moment.
I learned that from having a younger sister. You know, like I at the beginning I didn't consider myself hyper protective, but I guess like I didn't see it. But then I was for so many years, man. So many years I was like, hey, no, don't do the mistakes that I did. You know, like don't do this. Like go and focus on that. Do what you love. Blah 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 blah. All of these advices that, like, in the end, it's like I was talking to my therapist about it years ago, and I remember she saying, like, imagine that you are like your favorite dish, and you're eating your favorite dish, and you want everyone else to experience the same that you experience. So you grab a spoon. Actually, I have a spoon right here. And you try and feed that to the person, and the person doesn't want to try it. So it's like, no, but this is the best thing in the world. But you cannot force it into others. You need them to choose when they want to try that for themselves.
The first thing I thought of, I think, when you're saying this is, you know, the scene in Lord of the Rings where Viggo Montoya kicks the helmet. The orc helmet. Do you guys know that meme?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch Lord of the Rings. But continue.
Oh my god!
Okay,
I just haven't.
Off the podcast.
I haven't seen it, man. I probably saw something, but I don't know everything.
Okay, I would have just lied if I were you, but yeah, cool. No, we'll go.
Hey, I got a good reason, man. I didn't grow up with TV.
No, it's cool. We forgive you. We forgive you. Oh no, that's cool, guys. I'm looking at the time and stuff, and I just want to because originally what I wanted to do at the start of this, I wanted to see how you have all found, you know, the last 6 episodes now, 5 episodes, the interviews, doing this live. How have you been finding this live sessions?
I feel like now we got into, I was gonna say it before, there was a certain pace that suddenly, like at the beginning it was like kind of like, and then suddenly now it's like it's like we stretched and then we can start working out.
Yeah, fully, because I still feel anxiety and like stress towards it, but I almost just, I don't know, I jump on, I'm like, okay, cool, like this is it, we have a debrief before, and we're starting to kind of get, I mean, not really structure, but like, but yeah, we just jump into it now. And yeah, I really enjoyed watching the last 5 episodes of all of us, of like seeing the growth. And I think this is what is going to be so sick with this. And this is why I actually quite enjoy it being live, because you just see the growth just there. You know, there's no editing, there's no nothing. We're just jumping straight in and just seeing what happens. And I think there's a lot of growth within that. like you'll see it within the podcast, but also ourselves, you know, for outside the podcast. What about you, Kelvin? What were you gonna say?
I like where it's gone so far. I think the only thing I get a bit anxious about is just wanting to see, I guess maybe it's a selfish reason. I want to see it grow because like I am at a stage of my life where I am really tired of doing everyone's bidding, so to speak. You know, and it's I don't want to work in certain environments. So when I come here every Sunday, I'm like, wow, this is something I can really commit to. This is something I would like to sit down and make an income from and work and live in that sort of way. But like I told you guys before we started the podcast, I had an epiphany this week, and I've just randomly just gone into training because I've just realized that's actually what I love doing. That's something I've been good at from day one, and like, and I've just realized this week that if you want to be successful in social media, don't waste your time trying to do something that everyone else is doing. Do something that you actually like doing.
Yeah, I mean, this is another topic we could definitely speak about, social media, because I was thinking this the other day. I even just randomly did a video, and I didn't post it or anything, but I was just doing it for myself, and like, because I keep seeing these trends on TikTok and Instagram and stuff. It's like, oh, this is how you get better at social media. This is how you beat the algorithm. This is how you, you know, get all these followers and get all these likes and get all these things. And I'm seeing this constantly. Like that is now becoming the trend. But
yeah,
so we've lost just this idea of just posting to show the world our lives and to show what we're about and what we're doing. It's now just becoming like a system of just constantly getting more likes and more views for these social media platforms.
Well, I'll be
It's
honest with you.
it's not for us anymore.
No,
Like
I
you know, but no, the way I'm saying that though is because like, you know, we're not posting when we feel like posting. We're not posting a particular way that we feel like we want to post. We're trying to just constantly go to these ways of the other people are because, oh my god, so I can get these likes because that's apparently the best, you know, the way that we have to do it now. Like maybe we should go back to just posting and doing what you know, when and what we want.
I'll be honest, Dan, that is happening. People are doing it that way. When you fall into that system, when you're trying to build something, it's what happened to me on TikTok especially. I saw a lot of those posts that you're posting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's because the algorithm it's an AI, it's a computer, it's very clever. The way that you post, and you're a beginner, and the way you're shooting out things, it will go, okay, this guy wants to grow or whatever, and it starts sending you all this kind of stuff. When you talk, when you have when you have conversations, when we're having conversations, when we're talking, I don't know how, but the computer picks up this stuff, and all of a sudden you're flooded with this stuff. Try. I'll give you a challenge. Spend a whole week posting something that you absolutely love. You don't care for one view. It's got to be something you love, and I bet you the whole TikTok.
That's what I'm doing now. That's what I do now anyway. That's like, and I will constantly do that. That's what I'm trying to promote and say is just like. Because I guess you're right. It is an algorithm thing. That's why I'm maybe getting fed all of those videos. But
search more stuff that you like, and you would see something differently. I tell you, I promise you. Because I see a lot of people working out now, just randomly. I'm just like, because I'm searching for it and looking for it. I'm like, okay, yeah, and I'm like, whoa, I got a lot of work to do. That guy's already doing 1,000 push-ups. Oh, okay. Oh wow. Okay. I was like, okay, I see what it is. There's a big challenge here. Let's go. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting. Maybe I will do it then. Okay, well, this week, right, I'm going to set myself a challenge then. This week, I'm going to just search, each day I'm going to search just 3 things I like.
Yeah.
Or I'm like into.
And follow those people if you're inspired.
Yeah, because it is a mission, isn't it? This whole social media vibe. But again, that's another topic for another time. Yeah, cool. This went on a journey. This went on a little bit of a journey. I think that's what these are about. It's just kind of, like I said at the beginning, just seeing where it kind of goes and flowing with it. Each week we're going to be developing, we're going to develop this podcast, and we're going to grow together, and we're going to be having different interviews. So next week, we have our first live interview. It's going to be with an amazing drummer called Charlie Barraclaw. I've been anxious about saying his last name. I always feel anxious about saying last names. It's so bad. It's so bad of me because I never want to get it wrong. But Charlie Barraclaw, we're going to be interviewing him. He's an amazing drummer and creative. Yeah, we're gonna see how it goes. And like I said, this is a journey. We're gonna see where this takes us. It is just going to be me next week and potentially Chris, our podcast flame Chris, who might be joining us. Yeah, we'll get into that. Charlie was actually booked one of our creative flames, a videographer called Bobby DeBooze, to film some drumming. Bobby DeBooze. All of our podcast flames know Mr. Bobby DeBooze. Shout out, Bobby. Yeah, he came. Me and him, we went to film some content for Charlie. So it's going to be great to speak to him next week to see how he found the session with us, and to see how he found the content. And yeah, just to get to know him and about his life. So yeah, tune in next week, everyone, if you want to hear about Charlie's life, and yeah, continue this journey with us. But for now, I think that's about it. If anyone has anything last to say to all of the awesome people tuning in or listening on the podcast platforms, then yeah, yes to the flames, yes to the flames. That was a good comment there. But yeah, no, cool guys. If there's nothing else to kind of debrief, that's been me, that's been us, and this is CandlerCreative Chats. Thank you all for tuning in. Sweet. Cool. Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys. Peace and love.